Good morning. Good morning. Out in the narthex, there is a picture of my family when we first arrived on July 6, 2007 in the US. As you can tell, we all looked pretty tired and all pretty skinny. Now, if you couldn't tell, we've all fattened up a bit. You can tell my parents have aged a bit. I now have hair. Both my brothers have a family of their own now. My 12-year-old sister, Ethelblay, now is taller than I am. And my baby sister, Samantha, wasn't even a thought. But now that she's here and is pretty cute, we've decided to keep her. I was born on May 12, 1998, in My La refugee camp in Thailand, just across the border from Burma. My La refugee camp is 4.5 miles long and half of a mile wide and houses over 40,000 people. The country of Burma is divided in different states and ethnic groups. The ethnic groups have their own languages and flags. Burma has a long history of civil war with the ethnic group that my family belongs to. Because of this ongoing war, my parents and my 2 brothers fearfully escaped through the jungle in the darkness of night from Burma to Thailand in 1995. Prayer was their only comfort. After 11 years living in the refugee camp, my family was able to register for an opportunity to move to the US. 1 year later, we qualified for an interview. The long process included countless interviews and a medical examination. After all the hard parts were done, my family had to go through airplane education and learn a little bit about American culture. For the class, adults and children were put in separate groups. They taught us about things like how to use the restroom and what Americans ate and the things they wear. One memory that especially stuck to me was when an American teacher showed us kids a picture of an American woman standing on a beach wearing a red bikini. And I remember being really shocked. So were the other kids. I wanted to close my eyes. I thought it was inappropriate for children to wear such things. Till this day, I still laugh about that experience. On the 4th of July, my family woke up very early to get ready for our departure. With much hope and prayer, all our bags were packed in big, colorful, and striped plastic bags. Before the bus arrived, we waited at the bus stop with our belongings. There were other family leaving, and the other people waiting there were friends saying goodbye. I didn't actually properly get to say goodbye to my friends, since I was very young and 9 years old and wasn't very aware. Also, I was mostly excited because I thought I was going to see my other refugee friends when I came to the US. Later, I realized that the United States and the world itself was way bigger than I imagined. Not long after our wait, the double-decker bus came and we all boarded and everyone said their goodbyes through the window for the last time. We rode on the bus all day that day, other than stopping for lunch. It was not a very fun trip because I never rode in a bus before. And was I ever glad that they provided us with puking bags, because they sure came in handy. In the evening of that day, we arrived at the airport in Bangkok. We had to wait a long time to board the plane. Overall, it was a very stressful day. The jet took off from Bangkok and came directly to New York without any stops. I remember everyone being so thirsty in this airport, but we didn't know where to find water. There were bubblers around, but we saw someone wash their hands in the bubbler, so we didn't want to use it. After New York, we had to board another plane to get to Wisconsin. I remember being a very beautiful and sunny July day. When we landed, my family was so happy to see people who were waiting to welcome us, a translator, and people who were going to be our neighbors. I remember Bryn giving me hugs and trying to talk to me on the ride home, but I had no clue what she was saying. Even though I've never met her before or the other people who welcomed us, I felt comforted and safe. I was incredibly shy when I arrived in the US because everyone looked different than me. I used to hide behind the furniture when people would visit. That's how shy I was. One memory that really stuck to me was that time when we arrived in Waukesha and we were living in Bryn and Jeff's house. I remember an old lady showed up to my house with puzzles, very unexpectedly. I didn't recognize her, so I hid behind the couch. As a kid, I was very confused how she knew us, and guess who that lady was? Of course, it was Joe. Also, I couldn't understand what people were saying, which made me even more shy and nervous. Everything was so new and different in the US. The school building was so big. The food was all strange. The grocery store were ginormous and overflowed with so much food. As a refugee, it took time for me to adapt to this amazing new culture. I grew out of my shyness during elementary school as I learned the language. Now I am a US citizen and in my first year of college. I attend the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. I am majoring in international studies with an emphasis of languages and area studies. I believe I made the right decision because I really like the campus. It is a big enough campus, but at the same time, not too big for me. It is a good distance from home as well. When I miss my baby sister or a home-cooked meal, I go home. And when I'm tired of my family, I go back to school, and it's not so far. I love how we have a gym, but by our dorm, which I try to go to maybe at least once a week. But I like taking naps more. You can tell I've definitely attained the freshman 15, or maybe a little more. If you can't tell, I had it well because it all went to my tummy. I hope one day to help others and master Spanish, serve in the Peace Corps, and travel all over the world. Lastly, I would like to thank all of the important people in my life that has shaped me along the way. First of all, of course, my parents, because without them, I wouldn't even be here and living comfortably. I want to thank Jo for her hard work. She needs to get an award or something. She is literally Burmese 911, a best friend, grandmother, and a person who you trust with your life. Whenever we need her, we can call her. I would also like to thank my awesome and incredibly patient tutors, Marsha James, Paula Bickle, and Jane Blackman. I would also like to thank the best ESL teacher, Mrs. Call. They are the reason why I learned English quickly. And also, I would like to thank Iva for taking care of my family and being a great nurse. Also, like Jo, she is quite a lady. She is getting old, but she looks incredible. I would like to thank Judy Frankie. She has given me the gift of traveling. I've been on many trips with her and have met a lot of fun older people. They may be older, but they can be a hoot. I've been to the Mississippi River with her, Washington, D.C., and many more. I would like to thank Bryn and Jeff Kirk for their dedication to help my family. They are the most wonderful couple and have such a warm family. I remember when we first arrived and they brought us back to their house. Also, I would like to thank Ascension for taking my family in and making us feel like we are at home. We are so blessed. God has been with us on every step of our journey, from our jungle village to Waukesha, Wisconsin, USA. Thank you for listening.